Okay, I need to go change this video to O5 serve file server chop end. So we have the root file system. It's very readable, right? Here's the root of our file system, and it's going to be a file server, and it's going to serve from this root. Wow, that's readable, isn't it? Do you get how that reads? English? Don't even think code. We have a file server serving files from the root of this file system. Woo! And it returns a handler. Well, if I have something that returns a handle, how could I make all that work? I could make that work with, if it returns a handler, I could make that work with handle, right? Because, I have this handle at a pattern, and it requires a handler. So maybe that will be what I put there, and I'll use HTTP handle, and I'll have some pattern, and then it's going to handle anything that, I'll give it that handler, and anything that comes in at /CSS. I'll put all my CSS files in there because I want those served. Anything that comes in at /image, right? /CSS, /image. I'm talking about the pattern right there. I want to be able to serve those images. I want to be able to serve those CSS files. I want to be able to serve those JS files. So I'll put them all in the root. In the root of my file server, I will have an image folder. I will have a CSS folder. I'll have a JS folder. And this will run, and it'll give me a handler, so I could pass that handler in there. I just have to figure out, okay, how do I get multiple patterns to work with that? And also there's this thing that it's a type file system. So what is a file system, type file system? Because that's what I got passed to my file server. And it's an interface, and it's anything with this method. Okay. And a file system implements access to a collection of named files. The elements in a file path are separated by a slash, regardless of host operating system convention. Well, that's convenient. But what is open? So I'm going to just look for things that have the open method. And I'll go up there to my index and see what has the open method. Well, dir has the open method. And look, open name string file air. And file system, open name string file air. Well, dir's got that method. So file server takes a file system, and a file system is anything that has this method. So I'm going to pass a dir into the root file system. What's a dir? It's a directory, right? I'm going to pass a directory in. And it's just kind of a roundabout go way using interfaces to build it so that maybe you pass something else in the future in to say, okay, put a directory here that's going to be the root of your file server from which all of your servers will be all your files will be served. And I'll return a handler, and we're going to use that with handle. So the way that code looks, when we get it all going, serving files, file server. So this is like the starting one. All right, we're passing in an HTTP dir, and if we look at what dir wants, dir, type dir is a string, right? So this is a type, and the underlying type is string. Remember we created type hot dog, and the underlying type was int? Here we're creating type dir, and the underlying type is string. And so here we're giving it a string, and we're saying through conversion, you are type HTTP dir. So we're making that string a dir. That dir has this method. That means since it has that method, it's type file system, and since it's type file system, we could pass it into file server, right? Well, HTTP file server, all that, and right here, handle that route, and when you go to that route, we're going to serve up all the files. And /dog will serve up this. So if we run that, here's /dog. And /dog serves all this. And I'm setting the content type to text HTML. There's a header set. So on my response, header set, and I'm setting the type, the header type, description, whatever, and then the value. So it's HTML. And then I'm writing the string, just basic HTML, image source toby.jpg. And I'm serving everything from this folder. Everything at root can be served, right? So handle, everything at root. So when I ask for, when the web browser says, oh, give me Toby, well, there's Toby. It's at root. It's at root, so it could be served. Interestingly, if I serve root, what happens? It gives me all my code. I could even serve my main.go file. Right? Because it'll serve anything at that root. Well, that's obviously not so good for security, but that's the starting point. So it's a starting point for file server.